a brand new edition of The Quinn Spinn. I'm your host, The Quinn. At least that's how I'm known here on the program, and at this point, really nowhere else. And I'm back here on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and more for another rousing and riveting installment of the official podcast of Underground Music Collective. You just heard Revel 9's All Live become at the top of the show. That's been our opening theme song here at The Quinn Spinn since the great year of 2014, and it will be until the very end of days. And I have a very interesting episode today because I'm joined by my brother, Dominic Longo. Last name's not Quinn. That's interesting, isn't it? But yes, Dominic's been a DJ for 20 years, more booked and busy than ever here in 2025, 200 plus dates a year. And he shares everything he's learned along the journey, or at least a good portion of it. So you, as entertainers, can build your businesses as well. And fun fact, we actually started the Quinn Spinn back at Moravian College, as it was known in the late 2010s, as the Dominic and the Quinn Show. Then he graduated. He's older than me. And then I decided to continue on with the Quinn Spinn, 2 N's and Quinn, 2 N's and Spin, as a spin-off of that show. And then, of course, the rest is history. A couple years later, after college, restarted the show, and here we are with this beautiful, unruly mess I've made. And also, this episode gets off to a very interesting start. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to let you get right to it and find out for yourselves right now. All right, everyone. As we said at the top of the show, we have a special guest on today's edition.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Rogan, for having me on your podcast today. There's something really important that I'd like to talk about, and I want to thank you for doing this, not in studio, but here live, I guess kind of live on Zoom.
I'm not Joe Rogan, but...
No, I know you guys. I don't mean to interrupt, Joe. I know you're a behemoth in this business, but I just want to talk about the G7 conference. Now, most people feel, and I thank you for bringing me on to discuss this very important topic, most people feel that the G7 conference that happened a couple weeks ago was an economic summit, right? Tariffs and the like, but the G... and a lot of people don't want to discuss this, means gecko. Did you know that, Joe? Right, so the G is gecko, because when else are the 7 top economies in the world going to get together? These competitors coming together to discuss things, right? They're competing, right, Joe? So when you take a look at the G, gecko, what is a gecko? A gecko is a lizard. These are the 7 most powerful economies in the world, and they're getting together in agreement over keeping the Antarctic lizard people down.
Okay.
What do you think?
I
see,
think
right? So before you continue, and I'm sorry to interrupt again, the naysayers will immediately point to the fact that lizards are cold-blooded. Lizards can't possibly live in Antarctica when they're cold-blooded, right, Joe? But when we look at Darwin's theory of evolution, adapt or die, these are specially adapted lizard people in Antarctica that the top governments don't want you to know about.
Okay, so a couple thoughts on this. First of all, I think YouTube is probably going to flag us for false information, number one. Number two, this isn't Joe Rogan.
There's no false information here. This is not a conspiracy theory, Joe. This is straight up fact. I got the proof.
All right. Well, our channel will no longer be monetizable after this, but nonetheless, nice to have you. By the way,
why not? This is breaking news that I'm bringing right to you, Mr. Rogan. You sound a little different, though. Do you have a cold? Do you feel okay?
Mr. Rogan is not here. I am, well, on the show, I'm the Quinn.
Who am I?
Who are you?
What do you mean Mr. Rogan's not here? I'm on the Joe Rogan show. Of course this is Rogan.
No, this is the Quinn Spinn, which has actually been running longer than the Joe Rogan experience. But
Wait a minute. Hold on. I only see me. Let me wait. Oh.
Yeah. Hi.
Oh. All right. Hey, what are we here for? What are we doing?
We're talking to you about your DJ career, your 20-year DJ career. That's
all right. I thought I was on Rogan, and I apologize to those who well, I don't, because it's still true.
Well, I'd like to apologize for my guest's comments. His opinions and views do not reflect those of the Quinn Spinn Underground Music Collective or any of its subsidiaries. And let's move on. I had to bring that out. You set me up for that.
There we go.
That was beautiful. Some good old Dominic and the Quinn action.
Oh.
We gotta address the elephant in the room, then, don't we? So this show actually started back at.
I don't see an elephant. I just see lizard people.
Yeah. Okay. The lizard person on the iceberg is that this show actually started.
Not an iceberg. Nice shelf.
Yeah. There we go. Ice shelf. Yeah. Berg shelf. It's all cold. But we started this at Moravian University as the Dominic and the Quinn show. Which then, once you graduated, became the Quinn Spinn, a spin-off with two N's of D&Q. I chose the name The Quinn because...
And it was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. And you just got a small taste of what that used to be like here in our advanced ages. But yeah, you're on the show now. Many years in the future. And in all those years, you've been a DJ. And you've been very...
Yeah, I've been. This is kind of where I got started.
Yeah, you've been doing it for 20 years, and it's led you down a very interesting path in the entertainment industry. So, I'm going to let you answer the 3 standard questions to fill in. Besides your advocacy for the lizard people, who you are.
You're breaking up on me, though.
I'm breaking up. Am I back?
It's kind of not working. Yeah. It's red, which means it's not good. Hold on. Oh. Can we I like the advocacy for the little lizard. All right, you're back to yellow. All right. What were you saying?
So we're gonna let people know, aside from your advocacy for the lizard people, who you are, what are your passions?
Well, I don't believe it was one way or another with the lizard people. I didn't promote the lizard people, and I didn't detract from the lizard people. I don't know them personally.
Okay, so you just want to build awareness for the lizard people.
Yes.
Right on.
.com.
Okay. So tell us, who are you? What are your passions, and why on earth would you want to come on the Quinn Spinn, thinking it was the Joe Rogan Experience?
Well, at first, so I began the whole DJ thing when I was 12 years old. I mean, you were there, making mixtapes in the basement and pretending to play DJ on a couple cassette recorders. And, I went to the first school dances and stuff in middle school, decided that I don't want to be back here. I want to be up there. I don't want to be the one playing the music. I want to be the one behind the booth. And it was, that was 28 years ago now, and I've been doing this professionally 20 years. Once I was able to buy my first equipment, which is part of the do nots that I would recommend when we get to that point, what not to do and where not to buy equipment. But yeah, so it's been a 20 years, pretty much what I've thought about for over a quarter century at this point. So yeah, passion's a good word for it. It's pretty much all I do, all I think about. I finished a wedding on Saturday night, and I came home and I was working on the next set for the 4th of July. So till 3:30 in the morning. So passion's a good word for it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so what made you take that turn from interest to pursuing this professionally? Because there's always a certain turning point where we kind of have that light bulb, or maybe it's a gradual build toward, I should lean more into this. So was it something where you just kind of flipped a switch and said, I'm going to go for this? Or was it something that kind of gradually built over those formative years?
All right. That's deep. So it's a number of things. So mostly it is freakouts for the most part. Moments of crisis where you decide, I'm just going to do it, right? I'm just going to do it. So I had one girlfriend in high school. And after that ended, after 6 months of whatever, I was like, you know what? I don't need to save my money anymore. I'm going to take these credit cards that I just got because I'm 19 and they have 30% interest rates. And I'm going to go online and I'm going to buy my first set of equipment, and I'm going to go for this because now I don't have to worry about going out to dinner and going to the movies or stuff. I took my money from my job at Arby's, and went from there and was primarily a hobbyist for a few years, and then took it full time in 2011. I heard from another girlfriend of mine that this was not a real job, that this could not be something that could pay the bills, and that I shouldn't be doing this at all. And as a hobbyist, early on, no, it wasn't going to pay the bills. It wasn't. I wasn't doing it often enough, but being told I couldn't, and that I couldn't make it a career, I couldn't make it that, quote, real job, that full-time job, gave me the motivation to do just that. And from that point, it's really been 15, 16 years or so of going from there. So been doing it ever since. 200 gigs a year now.
Mm-hmm. So what was it like in those first few years of building up that book of business? Because I think what a lot of people don't understand when they get into the entertainment industry is that this is a process. You don't just like leave your job, if you have a full-time career that you leave for something, or, just start doing a thing and all of a sudden you're successful, right? Like
it doesn't happen right away, and it
right.
didn't happen right away for me.
Right.
For sure.
Right. Like when we started the show, we thought we were going to be on Sirius XM in 6 months, this show. And obviously we're still not there. It's 12 years, but a lot of other cool things have happened along the way, but like you have to build up to it and you have to work up to it. So what was it like working up to that, from that moment of like, you know what, I'm going to prove I can do this, to feeling like you were in a spot where you could do this comfortably and make a living, where you have those 200 plus gigs a year?
Never say no. As long as something, and I'm not saying like, if something's crazy, or no pay, or, 700 miles away that you can't get to, I'm not saying that, but don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone a little bit. I'll give an example. When I first started becoming the professional after 2010, and started to do like weddings and stuff, I moved down to the Jersey Shore, where we have a lot of 55 plus residential communities. And I didn't really want to do those gigs at the 55 plus. I was 25 years old. What am I going to be doing there, playing Motown and stuff? But, I didn't say no. I gave it a shot. And some of those gigs are the most fun gigs that I have. They're like the original partiers and the disco kids and stuff like that. And then they're done by 8. So you're home early. So those are fun gigs that I previously would have been adverse to. But don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone a little bit, just because you are of one age or you like one genre more than another, or maybe you don't have experience. And sometimes you're going to fall flat. I've done weddings before where they were either, had Greek music elements or Indian music elements or maybe Russian music elements. And sometimes you fall a little bit flat on that. But don't be afraid to say no, and don't be afraid to try new things. And that's how you build up that ability to go out there. And as you're taking these bookings from people, other agencies, they're going to see that you're reliable in that sense. So don't be afraid to say yes to things that are outside of the comfort zone.
And I think just like in the music industry, where you have so many like subgenres and like subsections of the industry, right? Like you could be an original artist, you could play in a cover band, you can be a songwriter, write for sync. Like DJing has its own version of that too, right? Where there's the nightlife scene, there's the private events scene, and then different subsections. Like you said, you were doing the 55 plus communities. You've also
and you can do all of it.
Yeah. So talk about what that's like to diversify as you've grown.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. I love it. So another don't say no thing, music bingo trivia. I thought it was kind of hokey and kind of, I don't know. It just wasn't my thing, but I've been doing DJ trivia for 10 years, and it's opened up opportunities to DJ at these places late night and meet people that I otherwise wouldn't have met. To be like, oh, I like you, I'm going to have you come DJ my 40th birthday party or something like that. So diversifying yourself is a big thing. I know a lot of guys think they're going to be on the main stage of the Electric Daisy Carnival and play their original produced beat boop hits and be that guy who's just doing like drum and bass, and you don't want to play Sweet Caroline. You don't want to play Low by Flo Rida. But to diversify, and first of all, it keeps it fresh. You never get bored, because, all right, well, I had a wedding to do, and now I'm going to go do a family event, family style kind of event for the 4th of July. And then I'll be at the bars for the late night, doing EDM, which is like country EDM, which is a cool new thing that I found for Wednesday. And then Friday is just your party music. So like it keeps it fresh, and you're not doing the same thing every single.
Right.
So it's great. You diversify, and then you kind of find your niche after a while too, and you find those places that work with your personality, because not everything's going to work out, right? Sometimes you're going to do a gig and you're not going to mesh with the people there. You're not going to mesh with the bar. The owner's looking for something a little different, and you might be one and done or two and done. And that's happened to me plenty of times. And it's not a reflection on your talent. It's just the personality fit. And you see with cover bands too, a lot of the cover bands that I work with, they'll do private events, they'll do the bar scene, they'll do the club scene. Some of them have originals that they'll play during the cover sets. The Danksters I worked with, they're a local group here down at the Jersey Shore, and they played a couple originals that actually got over pretty well with the crowd, along with the covers that they do, and they put a spin on the covers that they were doing, and they were attracting probably 500 people. So yeah, diversify, and you can make things like Sweet Caroline your own as well too.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's an important point too, because in such a saturated market, right, you need to find what sets you apart. And that's what we're telling artists all the time is like, anybody can be a singer-songwriter from my town, USA. What are you doing to put your own spin on it and add unique value to the ecosystem that makes somebody go, I want to listen to this person?
Right. And everybody's doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Everybody's playing the same thing when you do the DJ thing, especially if you're out late night, because if I've played Flo Rida Low 7,000 times, these people aren't doing my job, and they don't hear these songs as much as I do. Right. So I got to be just as excited for the bop, bop, bop part of Sweet Caroline as I was 10 years ago when the crowd goes for it. So what's going to set you apart from everybody else is who you are and your personality. And I don't want to say a gimmick. A lot of the cover bands have gimmicks. The Amish Outlaws, they dress as Amish. There's just some name dropping local people. The Nerds, they dress like nerds or whatever. So some of these cover bands do have gimmicks that sets them apart. DJs is a little harder for that kind of a gimmicky type of thing, but your personality is going to set you apart from most, I feel. And it's not only the personality with the people who you're in front of, it's personality with the people who are also working there.
Right.
The bartenders, the wait staff, the managers, those people who are essentially paying you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Your clientele, your personality with your clientele, if it's a private event, before the event. Because you're, in some cases, with weddings, up to a year in advance, you are working with a client.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so you need to build that rapport, and there needs to be some connection that they have with you as a person on a human level. And that goes across anything in business, right? Like, people buy from who they know, like, and trust. They work with who they know, like, and trust. They work with the people that they already have relationships with, and they're more likely to give those people referrals as well. And that's such a big part of it too, is like building that book of business takes not only building relationships with the people you're working with right now, but then finding ways to collaborate and share networks and continue to build a community and an ecosystem. So how has that worked out for you over the years?
So networking is a big part of it. That's the emphasis cannot be too big on working with other people who have been in the business. I'm working with, my one guy, Nick, I've known since I was 16 years old. Ron, 15, 16 years. And then there's others in there that I haven't known quite as long, but working with people who have that same mindset as you and the same work ethic as you, and the same motivation as you. Because I'm sure you see this with the band thing too. Parties, late nights, girls, alcohol, whatever, are some primary motivations. And I've seen guys come in and wash out because that is their motivation, and they don't understand, all right, the client work beforehand, the 2 hours to set up, the hour you're getting home at 4 a.m, you're missing your friend's wedding because you got to go to a wedding of your client or something along those lines. So people don't understand that. And I've seen a lot of people wash out in a year or two. You need a network of like-minded people, not only to bounce ideas off of, but to talk about the road and talk about the gigs and the things that other people don't understand. Other things people don't understand, even if they're working as a bartender, man, they don't understand some of the things that we go through and what we deal with. Because, we meet all these people, we're surrounded by all these people, but we are alone at the end of the day for the most part, unless you have a gear guy or something like that. So to be teamed up with someone and to know like-minded people, and it's how you get gigs too. I don't advertise anywhere at all. I have zero advertising. It's all referral. And I've done only referral since COVID, since 2021. And it's just getting out there, promoting my Facebook group. People have a face to the name, and that's how it goes. It's all referral now.
Mm-hmm. And I think you also touched on something important there. There are just sacrifices that you make in the entertainment industry that, like, your person working the 9 to 5 doesn't necessarily understand, or even people,
Right.
different parts of the entertainment industry don't understand. And keeping it all in balance, like you're balancing life and the dream, like we like to say around here, right? And you have to remain responsible to all the things in life you're responsible for, right? While also continuing to build this thing. And no matter where you are on the journey, whether you're 10, 20 years in or just starting out, you're building from that origin point of zero. And there are so many sacrifices you make along the way, lessons you learn, and like you said, things that you go through, challenges you face. What have some of the biggest challenges been for you in this time, in the past 2 decades, in building the business, but also keeping it all in balance?
Well, we'll start at point A with building the business. And the idea of life meshing with the business. Anybody who's passionate for anything is going to have a hard time balancing work and life, right? I mean, I know I teach too, right? So, and I know a lot of teachers that, for whatever reason, one or another, bring the work home with them, and it's a big, and it's their passion. So, like, it's difficult to, when you make it's work becoming your personality is a little tough. And when you can bring life into it, it's good. But you need willing participants to do that. And that's kind of that challenge as well. Early on, I lost a lot of very important people in my life because I knew I could do this thing that I wanted to do. And I knew early on that if I didn't try, I would regret it, because I knew that I could take nothing and, play in a frat party or the farm bonfire for $150 or whatever. I can take this thing and make it that thing. But you need the willing participants in your life. And I lost a lot of very, very important relationships. In part, it wasn't the only reasons, but in part because of that movement. So those are the challenges. Where is life fitting into the business? And you got to take time to step away, especially when you get to where I am. And anybody's capable of getting to where I am. Like, it's not, I don't want to say it's not hard, but it's not, if you want to do it, you can. That's kind of the thing. If you want to do it, you can. But that's where the challenges are. Where do the people around you fit into that plan for yourself? Because you're going to miss a lot. And what was the second part? I forgot.
Well, I think that's an important thing that I want to touch on, because, I mean, I've experienced that myself. When I launched this show, it was kind of,
I'm sure all of us have. If you've gotten to a certain level in the business.
Yeah. Or even just starting out, like, once your focus starts going in this direction, like you notice the relationships around you start to change. And I had the same thing happen. You know, the further I went into building this platform, like relationships changed or completely fell off. And again, not the only reason, but like starting this podcast, starting UMC on top of it was like a big contributing reason to that, right? It started
right. And when you keep telling people that you can't hang out that day, that, oh, I got to go to this or that, they stop asking, and then they stop contact, and then they're gone. Sometimes it's not a big dramatic meltdown. Sometimes it's just this gradual fade away, and I've had that happen plenty of times too.
Yeah. And so, how does that help bring you further into alignment with the people in your life now? You know, because as people fall away, you kind of fall out of alignment with each other. It opens the door for more to come in. So, how have you noticed?
So for me, I either surround myself with people in the business. People I talk to do what I do. The couple long-term friends I still have are shut-ins, for lack of a better word. They don't really do much. They're home buddies, home, family, work, that type of thing. And being almost 40 now, it's not really, let's go out on a Friday, Saturday night. So those who have kind of stuck around through, you know, that time period where you're younger and you want to do stuff, and now we're older and just focus primarily because, you know, I have my daughter too, and it's family life, home life, where you just, you know, keep in touch that way, maybe get together a couple times a year. You know, those types of people who kind of see the business. But really, even when I'm thinking about that, I mean, a couple people who aren't in the business, they're still got that kind of, I don't want to say transient job, but they can pick and choose when they work type of thing. And they could, all right, I want to go do one thing or the other. And it's definitely, they're not 9 to 5 either. So I guess it's just all, you know, you end up with the people around you that should be at the end of the day.
Right on.
And people who are like-minded and basically see that, you know, might not see what you're doing and see that vision, but understand it in a way, because they're all kind of doing the same thing. If, you know, they're taking up, like, you know, adjunct teaching here and there, or mixing it with their dance lessons that they give and all this type of thing. So that hustle, I don't know if hustle's the right word, but that hustler mindset.
Yeah. I think it's possible too, like for people to be in completely different lanes and still respect, you know, the path that you're on. Like I think of our sister, right? Like teacher, mother of 3, like, you know, but she's always been very understanding that we're going to do what we're going to do, right? And like has been supportive of it. And, you know, and now she started her own, you know, with the tutoring center too. So we're all kind of, I think, rubbing in that way.
I just,
you know?
I mean, I haven't had that experience where people in a different mode of life have really, you know, been part of my life for the last 10 years or so. I just haven't really been there, but I'm sure it's there, but just not.
Yeah. But it's a tough thing to keep in balance because too everybody's got their own lives and everybody's got their own things and their own battles, you know, and what, you know, and I think what it comes down to is like we all kind of pick the crazy that we're willing to deal with, you know.
True.
Whether that's the crazy of dealing with office politics or the crazy of trying to build it from scratch.
Right, and that's the challenges part that you were. That's the second part you were asking about. The challenges in the 20 years. I mean, I had to rebuild from nothing once COVID shut it down because, you know, nobody was out doing anything, and, you know, businesses fall apart. People stop doing it. They find another line of work and whatever. And I had to come back from nothing. So I left an agency when I found out about my daughter to teach as well, because I wasn't sure if I was going to still do this as a dad. Right. So COVID hits, I missed it. And then it ends up blowing up again It took the COVID comeback took a little longer than I thought, from really the summer of 2021, and it took a solid year before I was really full force again. But it shut down a lot, right? Obviously, it shut down everything, and a lot of stuff didn't come back from that. So yeah, there was a challenge. I had to rebuild a little bit, because I did slow it down in 2019 after my daughter came around and COVID hits, and you kind of, that's the thing too. That back of your mind, you got to keep doing it to stay relevant. You got to keep doing it to stay in people's minds, to be out in the open and stuff. But you also got to remember to take time for yourself at the end of the day. You can't, because it's draining being on all the time. And like for me, I'm social butterfly and stuff because of the jobs, but then I come home and I just want to be on the couch, right? I just quiet, silence.
Yeah.
So it's, you got to take that time for yourself to kind of recover and recoup too. So you go on this run, and I've been on these runs where I've done events 15, 17 days in a row, especially this time of year, maybe the fall when it's peak wedding season, and you got to just take a step back, take a week off, something along those lines. Like, you're not going to be forgotten if you take a week off.
Right. And the thing is, like, you can always pick right up. And, that resonates with me too, because like the first half of this year, all the conferences, all the travel. And like I have a period now that I'm in the middle of right now where I don't have to go anywhere for, still a few weeks yet. And it's so nice to not have to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, all right, like that was all cool. It's all great. We're building off of that, but like you gotta just take a step back and make sure like you're taking care of the housekeeping stuff, both literal and figurative, right? Like you have to make sure that you're giving yourself enough, you're filling your cup back up so you can go out there and do it again.
Right. And I've been playing a lot of catch up this last week because school's out. Now I don't want to say that I don't need two jobs. I'm gonna put that right out there too. So, because I'm here to help. At the end of the day, here to help new DJs become independent and be able to support themselves with this. I do not need to. I like to do both. So, that's why I do both. I don't need to. I want to. But with school out, I'm able. Like I just took apart the toddler bed for my daughter because we got a furniture delivery and tomorrow for the new stuff, and putting old equipment on Facebook Marketplace and being around for all that stuff. I got to go food shopping today before I go out to do music bingo. So all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you need time to because it could snowball. The house becomes a mess, and I can tell you half of my place right now is a disaster. So you got to take some time to step back, because especially in the line of work, like I'll give you an example. Like Thursday, I'm doing a late night till 1:30. I'll be back on the beach at 3:00 to set up for 4th of July until fireworks. Then Friday night I'm back out. Or Saturday night rather. So I got this run coming up, a mini run, and by Sunday I'm not going to want to get off the couch. So it does snowball. You gotta make sure to take some time for yourself and to get the things done that you need to get done, especially when you start getting really, really successful. And that mindset of don't say no. Sometimes when you get successful, you need to sometimes. Like I'm going on my vacation at the end of the month, right? Taking 2 weeks off, and I've had to say no to quite a bit. They're popular weeks apparently now.
Yeah.
But I know if I wasn't going anywhere, I probably wouldn't be popular, but they've been popular weeks.
Yeah. And you have to carve those times out. And I think as you go too, and you become successful, there's also the sense of, knowing what to say no to and what to say yes to. You're able to become more selective. You're able to choose
exactly
what you want to do. And, does it make sense for you to take this gig over that one? Does it make sense for you to take a certain gig at all? Right.
Right. And there's other things you got to watch out for too. When people know you're new, they're going to try to undercut. Right. So let's say you got a $400 bar gig and the booker, wants to take half and you're new. So you're not going to say no to $200. As you get further and the opportunity to play more than the money, of course, when you're new. But as you go further on, I've turned down plenty of $150 and $200 bar gigs in the last few months that, it's just, not worth the time away because, I already have 200 something already booked. Right. So, I'm not going to take the time away from my daughter or, things that I need to do to, just have another gig. I don't need to take every single one. And I am able to be selective, or the place isn't a fit. Maybe it's too far away or something along those lines.
Right. It's a beautiful place.
But before I went to South Carolina with you, which was that was kind of a special thing. But people I didn't know. I went up to the Finger Lakes. I went up to Lake Erie. I've seen like every Great Lake because of this job. St. Lawrence River. I played on the Canadian border. Massachusetts, DC. I think I said Virginia, South Carolina. So I've been all around the Northeast to the extent that it made sense for me to go. Like you're not going to take a gig in, I'm in New Jersey, so you're not going to take a gig halfway across the country for $300. You'll be spending money to go out there. Unless you really want to go see Tulsa, Oklahoma, go for it. Have them pay for a hotel room on your road trip. But generally speaking, I've gone everywhere where it made sense to go. I played in Massachusetts, New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, DC, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, South Carolina.
And it's taken you all kinds of places I'm sure you never expected it to way back.
Yeah. Professionally, personally, and on the map for sure. Yeah.
So let's get into what not to do, because I know we've both been looking forward to this. So, as you go along,
yes,
we all go through the hard knocks and we learn along the way, hopefully, what maybe we should, do differently, or maybe where we should redirect our focus when something doesn't go well. What have been some of the most important ones to you over the past 20 years?
As far as what not to do?
Yep.
Don't panic. Don't panic. And a great way to not panic is having backup wires and backup stuff, right? But don't panic. Great advice. A singer, Larry Hendricks, told me at least 10 years ago, maybe more. I was nervous about a wedding, and this was one of the first weddings I did with the band. And my big thing was to MC. I have a review on Google that says I have a voice of gold. I think you were at that wedding. Anyway, so he said once those intros are done, it's on them whether or not they dance. And that's true and that's not true. But sometimes you'll get a crowd that just kind of sits on their hands and it's listening music and it's background noise, and sometimes that's okay. And sometimes it's the roof's blowing off the place. So never panic. As long as you're sticking to the client wishes, you're good. So don't try to go into business for yourself. When you're doing a private event, it's a special occasion for somebody, right? It's either a birthday or a wedding, or in one case for me, a funeral. So you're not, I did a life celebration.
I want to know more about it. Maybe not, but yeah. Whatever you feel.
Well, the person really liked classic rock who died, and their kids wanted the repast to be a little more upbeat, not a cry fest. So, hey, I went out there and did that. But so at the end of the day, it feels good to have people chant one more song. We got that on Saturday. Feels good to have people cheer for you, and they will, right? They'll go nuts for you. But you got to balance that with the concept and the knowledge that it's not about you. Keep the ego in check. We're stars for the couple hours we're up there, and then you got to be able to balance that too, and keep that ego in check. What books you the gig, that personality and that salesmanship, and that is what has to last through the gig and after. So, don't tell, and it's not so much the client either. Don't tell the staff how to run their business either. Like we said, lanes, right? Stay in your lane. Your lane is the DJs, play music and entertain those people and get them on the dance floor. Or if it's a background gig like the bonfire, you play what the client wants and you let it go. And I learned that really early on when I was doing those farm gigs, just kind of playing background noise that, I didn't like country music yet. And eventually it grew on me from those farm gigs. Because you find the ones that you can tolerate, and then you find the ones that sound like those, and then you end up liking it. But, those events where you're playing music that you don't like or whatever, like it's not about your personal preference at the end of the day. It's your client, it's your bar owner, bar manager, it's your crowd. So keep that ego in check. When you're starting off, you're probably going to be playing the VFW, the American Legion Hall for those smaller events and stuff. And that's not the time to be Tiesto. That's the time to develop your personality and who you are. You're not going from the VFW to main stage in Vegas. There's a big difference between producer and DJ, right? DJ, you're there for the crowd that especially when you're mobile. You're there for the group that hired you, right? So keep the ego in check. It's not about you. And that's hard for a lot of people. It's hard for a lot of people. Because they especially, you kind of see the way you like things. And every venue there's little quirks about every venue and every client where things aren't going to, you love when they go exactly your way. And they do, because during those client meetings, the more experience you get, the more advice you can give and that's part of that, developing your personality and being able to talk to people and work with people, and being able to put forward what you do and what you like to do with the client. And as you get more experienced, you can see what clients fit best with you. But generally speaking, you got to keep that ego in check. Don't tell anybody what to do. Because a lot of the times, I'll tell brides now, don't tell me to not accept requests, because you don't want to take the blame, right? You don't want to take the heat. So if someone comes up to me and oh, I want to hear the cha-cha slide. Well, the bride said no line dances, so I can't do that. You don't want me to say that. However, if somebody comes up and says, all right, I want to hear Uptown Funk, I'll be like, oh, that was on the bride's list. Great pick. We're going to get to it. Right. And then they walk away happy. So there's certain, and I've developed that over time, right? There's certain stuff experience will guide you. The experience will end up guiding you eventually. But the number one thing, keep the ego in check, keep the demeanor calm, and don't panic.
So you mentioned, and we've got a few questions left here. You mentioned wanting to teach.
Yeah, I've been here like an hour. I'm sorry. I know you said you had a half hour.
No, all good, all good. This has been great. Very insightful, and 20 years of experience coming through here. So this has been awesome.
Hopefully the insight began with the lizard people.
Yeah, I mean,
hopefully that was insightful for you.
It was something. I'll say that. But
it was there, yeah.
So you mentioned wanting to teach
the
next generation, and so you've begun doing that as well. So tell people what they can expect from that and where they can learn more if they want to tap in with you there.
Well, and that's, that's why I'm here for the most part, right? Is that I do have this experience. I was talking to one of my high school students about, equipment, and he wanted to try to get into the business and things like that. And I realized that I talked to this kid for 45 minutes without blinking, essentially. So I do have a wealth of information and guidance and knowledge and experience to give to those people who are just getting into the business, and we want to talk about challenges that I didn't have that. So I started with my first equipment. What would it have been? 2004. It's been 21 years, the beginning of 2004. And then, I went on eBay. I bought some, I won't name brands, but some not good equipment. I don't want to disparage any brands or anything when this is going to be all over wherever. But I bought some not good equipment and went out and said, I'm a DJ now, without actually learning any of it. How to get clients, how to talk to people, how to work with people, how to even mix music. I had no idea what I was doing. So I just knew this was the thing I wanted to do, and this is the stuff that looks like the other stuff that's more expensive. So let's go. And I had no guidance. And the first company I worked with is no longer around. Larry Catrone's Valley Video and Entertainment. He's fortunately no longer with us, but I found a thing at the community college with the little tabs on it, with the phone numbers. Do you want to be a DJ? And I say, yep. Took the tab, said, yeah, I know what I'm doing. Sure. And I was off to the races. And my first gig was a Sweet 16, and I'm 19 years old, so I'm kind of in the age bracket. And I had the dance floor packed and going crazy and stuff. I'm like, all right, this is it. This is it. This is how every gig's going to be. And this is how it's just rolling on downhill until, I'm playing whatever club in New York City. And that was obviously not the case. But yeah, so my idea is through UMC, because you have the outreach to take your idea of the brand camp and apply it to the DJ side. Because at the end of the day, we're all kind of in the same group. We're all entertainers. We're all nightlife. We're all whatever. And, we don't make our own music and stuff, but I'm sure you do stuff with cover bands as well. And I know a lot of the people who do originals are in cover bands, especially in your area, which is very band heavy. And that's the other thing too. Like, a lot of people have said that DJs have taken away from bands. I don't know. I still see a ton of live music all over the Jersey Shore. So I'm not entirely sure about that, but maybe I'm not in a band. So I don't know if I can really speak to that, but yeah, I just kind of want to, anybody who's out in your world, your outreach, to help them become successful in this industry, and maybe not have it take as long as I did. So I started in 2004, late 2004, early 2005. And it took me 5 or 6 years to start to really get the ball rolling to where I could support myself with it. Because I had, like I said, I had no guidance. I was still using CDs in the digital era type of stuff. So yeah, I had absolutely no guidance. Nobody told me how to do it, what to do, and how to do anything. So I want to give guidance in the same way that you do with brand camp.
All right. Well, good to see the ripple effects of brand camp coming through here. So, speaking of guidance, and this is the $1 million question here at the end, sponsored by my book, 60 Plus Lessons from the Creative Journey, a handy guide for the budding entrepreneur. So
Cat DeLuna will open the show.
Cat DeLuna will open the show. Hip Hop Artist Fabulous. He'll be coming to Moravian College on Friday, November 16th, 2007, that was. That was a long time ago. There was this whole bit we did back in the day on the show. And you heard
to promote the Fabulous concert.
Yeah. Fabulous was coming to Moravian, and we were,
because that made sense.
Yeah. So going back to giving guidance, if you could go back and teach your younger self back in 2004 one lesson that would have been so important to know back when you were just getting started, what would that be?
Find a mentor. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be the mentor. Find the mentor. Find someone who's seen it, done it, been there, lived it. That could help you along the way as you go through. And of course, it's up to you to do the legwork, right? It's up to anybody to do the legwork. I can't do that part for you. But as far as working with clients, dealing with problems, how to convince these bar owners that you're their guy, whatever it may be, just have a mentor. Have someone to tell you this is the equipment you should get. This is what you need for whatever gig you're doing to help work on. And my major thing that separates me, and I don't want to sound like I got the ego or anything, but the thing that separates me from a lot of the other people is my mic work. The ability to, and that's why I do music bingo. That's why I do trivia nights. It's the mic work. It's being able to, God, and somebody told me I couldn't turn off the DJ voice. I almost cried. That was terrible. But the ability to have that pitch, that inflection, and that confidence on the microphone, that sets me apart. If you're able to MC while you DJ, the world's going to open up to you. Mm-hmm. And maybe teach people how to do that. Critique their inflection and stuff. Really help people and guide them on the way to being better in the business.
Mm-hmm. Critique their promo skills. And of course, I'm sure some of that comes from watching, wrestling as an adult.
Yeah, I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, and seeing, Thunder, seeing different people, throughout 20 years or whatever, and it just doesn't hit right. It just doesn't hit right. And even I can see bands go up there. Hey guys, we're going to play our song. It's called Butt Rock Anthem, and hope you like it. That's not engaging your crowd. You got to be able to engage that crowd and be able to hype them up when, you have that Sunday afternoon, 4:00 wedding and people are, not really into the partying part because they got to go to work in the morning and stuff. You got to be able to engage. And it comes down to mic work. Because at the end of the day, every DJ is playing the same songs. And what sets me apart, I know, is the mic work. 100%. But find a mentor. That's what it is, and that's what I'm trying to be.
Very important skill, the mic work, and very important understanding that we don't know everything and we all need guidance. So before we go, first of all, Dominic,
even I do. I learn different things all the time. Mm-hmm. I find new ways to go about a set, new ways to go about pitch matching and blending, new ways to go about not so much the mic stuff anymore. I kind of have that routine down to where I like it, but to be open-minded to stuff and to be able to really put your personality out there to the point where you can engage with people. Get that person who's sitting way off in the corner to get out on the dance floor, feel comfortable.
Right on. Never stop learning, never stop growing in what you do. And if people want to follow that journey, where can they learn more about you online?
Well, Facebook is my primary place, and I'm not that great with the social media thing, but I am great with Facebook. So you look up DJ Dominic Longo, and I'm sure you'll put the link up there. You can find me there. I'm sure you're going to put up something to get in touch with me too on your website if they want to do this. Because, you and I are partnering in this. So I'm going to be following your introductory stuff, your initial questionnaire that you put out there, and you can go over that a little bit before, it becomes DJ specific. The idea is to find serious people who are, motivated to do this job for the right reasons. They're going to act professionally. And, I'm thinking like Adam Sandler in The Wedding Singer, somebody kill me. I'm not, they just get absolutely wasted and all that stuff. And the other thing too is, you got to be able to dig down deep when you don't want to go. What happened to you that day? So you got to go out there and you got to put your best foot forward. And there's plenty of stuff that, happened to me or whatever. And, I had to ignore it and I had to go play a wedding. So, all that stuff. I'd love to help new and inspiring DJs through UMC and get the ball rolling with some. And the ultimate goal, hopefully, down there. Give me a reason to go to Nashville, and because I assume most of your people are local to you, most of your viewers. So that would be awesome, and have some sort of showcase. That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, we get a lot from all over now, certainly, with the community and, the conferences. So maybe we could do some kind of regional showcase or nationwide showcase at some point.
Yeah, we'll start with regional.
We'll start with regional.
Yeah,
but
we'll start small and grow. But so nationwide is a little scary, but we'll see. We get some people who really want to learn the business, and it's not telling people what music to play so much and how to mix and all that. It's that interpersonal stuff, the forging relationships, because I can't teach you how to mix. You got to practice, right? I can tell you how, but you got to practice, right? So, mic work, building relationships, professionalism, and any questions or conflicts that come up along the way, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Yes, you'll see it all at umcworldwide.com. We'll put the links in the description as well. Dominic, thank you for joining us today.
Just all that big hump energy.
All right, I'll be back to close this out. All right, so there you have it. Thanks to Dominic for coming on, and congratulations on 20 years in the business. Again, more booked and busy than ever. And as we mentioned, we have some educational resources and chances to tap in if you want to learn from somebody who's been doing this in the entertainment industry for 2 decades strong. Go to the description, click that link. It's on the UMC website under our verified partners page. Make sure you tap in, especially if you're in that DJ, live entertainment space. Definitely a guy to learn from. And this has been the Quinn Spinn. 2 N's in Quinn, 2 N's in Spin. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and more. Also on Instagram at Quinn Spinn Official. Again, 2 N's in Quinn, 2 N's in Spin. And at umcworldwide.com. That's our central hub for all things independent music, creativity, community, and more. And of course, on the socials, at least most of them at this point, as UMC Worldwide. Make sure you tap in with the UnderDogs community as well, community.umcnashville.com. I still need to change that subdomain. And support UnderDogs across borders. That is helping us reach new heights and take our artists with us, not only here in Nashville, not only back to Bethlehem, but around the world. We've had a chance to travel to so many different cities, countries, continents, tap into different markets, meet new people, and we want to create opportunities in all of those places and more. So make sure you hit that donate link if you believe in what we're doing here at UMC and the Quinn Spinn. Revel 9's All I Become, going to take us out like it brought us in. Grab some muffins on your way out. And free Suge Knight.